Hadi Sabuzi, Nicole Cardinal Hesli, C. Stella Setsahanya, Snechalya with Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Indi Yunkit Jan Sesyen, Masi. Hello, my name is Nicole Cardinal. I am from the Stellatan First Nation and a proud member of the Lexiliu clan. I would like to acknowledge that I am coming to you from the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. Today, I'm really excited. I am going to teach you how to bead a beaded ornament. This is the beaded ornament as an example. It's a nice small project, and this project will give you the basics of how to bead. For this project, you will need a nice clear space. You need to be calm and excited. Your beading kit should include a piece of felt, beading needle, beading thread, and of course beads. And when I mentioned earlier that to be in a calm space, one thing I want you to think about as you're learning to bead is to be patient with yourself, to be kind, and know that it's not going to be perfect. What you will be learning is the technique, and you'll be able to use this technique over and over again. If you find yourself to be frustrated during the beading session, push pause, take a break, go for a walk. Beading is a little hard on the body, especially if you're really determined and you're sitting there for a long time. This project could take up to a couple hours. It might even take a couple weeks, depending on how much you put into it. This took me a couple hours, but I was able to sit and bead it straight through, and it's something that I do for therapy. I consider beading as medicine. As a Dakath woman, it's important that I'm able to connect culturally to my ancestors. Beading is something that my ancestors have done for a long time, and you see it in our regalia, on our hides, on vests, on gloves. So even if I get to do just little projects like this, it actually really helps me feel connected to them. When I talk about beading as medicine, I also think about who I'm making this for. If I'm beading a project and I'm not sure who it's going to be gifted to, I still put love and care into this project. It's kind of like cooking a meal. You invite people over and you're making this wonderful meal, and say your mood goes sour or you get into an argument, or you're just not having the greatest moment, and before you know it, your food is burnt. That's kind of like beading. I try to bead with open heart, clear mind, and I put love and care into it because I want it to be able to give those good feelings. So that's what I did here. I might give this to my daughter so she can give it to her teacher, just to thank her for everything she's done during this whole pandemic. If you don't know who you're beading this for, that's okay too. And maybe you don't need to give it away or don't want to give it away, or maybe you need it for yourself. You do with it as you wish, but don't ever quit. Don't get discouraged. Just continue to try to bead. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person and share this technique, but what I've done is created a video. Hopefully you can follow easily and stop and pause and go back if you need to. I am truly grateful for this opportunity, and I really believe that sharing teachings, especially from my culture, is a good way of connecting with others, even in a virtual world. So let's get started. Let's have fun. And I hope to one day see your finished projects, even via pictures. Okay, so we're going to get started. I have thread. piece of felt, needle, a pen, scissors, and the beads of my choice. This is what I made over the weekend. This was just an example. So you don't want to go too bigger, not much bigger than this size here for your beaded ornament. I'm just going to use a round object. So this is just my thread, my spool of thread. So find something around the house, keep it simple. And I'm just going to trace it onto my felt. So I'm going to do a nice circle around my felt here. Okay. So there's my beaded ornament. And I think I may want to try, you can do a design in there, so you can do a pattern if you wish, or you can do, you can spell a word. I am going to try and see if I can spell clan. There. So I'm part of the Lexilia clan. I said that in my introduction. Clan is important to the Deccath people. Maybe there's a word you want to share. Love, hope, kind, a name maybe. I'm going to try with clan. So I'm going to leave it at that. And then I'm going to show you how to thread your needle. So when it comes to threading the needle, you don't need it to be too long of a string, because you don't want to get frustrated either. So not too long, about an arm's length is what I generally do. And to bead, you should be in a nice bright light so you can see. So I am using the ring light today, but I also have like a reading lamp that I use. You want to be able to preserve your eyes for as long as you can. So make sure you bead in super bright light. Give me a sec, I just dropped that. So just gonna thread my needle. And once it's gone through the eye of the needle there, I'm not gonna double it. I'm just gonna have one tail, not a double tail, and then I'm just gonna take the end of my thread for my beading, and I'm just gonna tie a few knots into it. I'm gonna work really, really hard to keep the knots in the same area, because you want it to be the anchor. And when we start to bead, you'll understand. So we just want a nice knot at the end of the thread and the needle. There we go. So when you start your beading, top or bottom, doesn't matter, you want your knot to be coming through the bottom, the back. Nobody's going to see that stitch work in the back. Okay, so the knot's in the back. That's why you need to make sure it's a big enough knot. So I am going to outline my ornament. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it in these two colors. So I'm going to do a full red solid ornament, and your beads should come in a different case, or you'll have your own beads anyways to start. So pick 2 or 3 colors, no more than that. And then you want to be able to have a few out ready of your choice. So this is a good number to start with for the red beads. You don't want to load your beading area. So when you get ready to bead, you can get a placemat or a paper towel, or sometimes a paper plate or a small dessert dish. You can put the napkin on top, and the beads just stay there. This is a beading mat, foamy, which keeps the beads from sliding it around. You don't need to go too fancy. There's lots of stuff you can use at home or within your reach that'll hold beads. Even those little containers, little jars, or what have you. Whatever you have that works. So just make it work for yourself. So you're just going to gather your beads. And you don't need too many beads, like I said, so this hank's done. I'm going to open a new one. Put this one in here. Okay, so that's what I'm just going to start with, just a couple of piles of my small beads. These are seed beads. I believe you have the same size. Right, so now I'm going to show you the technique. So I am going to bead clan. I explained earlier I'm part of the Lexilia clan. And I think I am going to outline it in white and then do the spelling in the white as well. So to start, we're going to pick up two beads. So I have 2 beads on the needle. I like to control my beads by sliding them along, and so I've brought them all the way down to where my design is, and all I'm doing is leading it with the thread. I'm not applying tons of pressure. Just going to put my thumb down just to hold the beads down, and I'm going to go through the felt, following my pattern, my design. So now I'm on the back side of my beadwork, and I'm going to come up beside these 2 beads as close as I can. So over here we are, as close as I can between them. Pull my thread out, and then I'm going to go through that last bead. So now my thread is coming through the bead. I'll do it again. So I'm going to pick up 2 beads. I slide it down with my finger because I like to control it. Drop it along the thread, and I'm just holding it in place. I'm not applying pressure. I'm going through the felt, following the design. I'm going to come up beside these 2 beads as close as I can, pull my thread out, and then I'm going to go through the last bead. So my thread will be coming through the bead, ready for the next 2 beads to come. So there it is, coming through the bead. So again, I'm going to pick up 2 beads, slide it down with my finger, direct it with my thumb, but I'm not applying pressure. I'm just holding it along the design. Pull my thread through. I'm going to come up as close as I can beside the last 2 beads, and I'm going to go through the last bead. Two beads. Going to slide it through with my thumb, direct it. There we go. Go through the felt. Come up beside as close as I can to those last 2 beads, and go through that last bead. Okay, 2 more beads. Slide it down, follow my design, stick it through the felt, pull my thread through, come up beside them, and go through the last bead. Pick up 2 more beads, slide it down, go through the design, pull my thread through, come up beside my last 2 beads, and go through the last one. And that's it. I'm just going to keep doing this until I'm finished beading all the way around the ornament. the outline. You might want to do your pattern on the inside first. Whatever works for you. It's important to remember when you're beading that you are making this for maybe a gift for yourself, a gift for a friend. Maybe you just want to give it a try, but either way, always just put some good energy into it. About being still, clearing your mind, being aware of your thoughts, be present. It's like anything you like to create with your hands, if you knit or paint or draw. When you start to wander off in your thoughts, mistakes happen, knots or tangles. So do your best to keep your mind clear while you're beading. Put some good energy into it. Maybe you don't know who this is for. And that's okay too. If it's meant to be for a gift for someone, you'll know. So I'll do it a couple more times and then I'm going to do it to the time-lapse video just to give you an idea of what it looks like in a sped up time. So you're just going to keep doing this all the way around. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so I'm done the outline of my ornament and I am going to use a different color bead in the middle. I'm going to do gold, so I'm going to go ahead and start that. And then after I'm done that, I'm going to start filling it in with the red. Okay, so now we've come to the point where I have a really short thread. I'm starting to pull it out with my needle. My needle's starting to come off, so I'm gonna start a new thread. And the easiest way to do that is when you are ready to come through that next bead, or the last bead you just did, bring your beads down. You can probably go one more time. So it looks like I can do one more time here. And then instead of coming back up, I am just going to go through the back and go through a couple of stitches just on the back side to secure and anchor it into the beadwork so all the work doesn't come apart. So I'm going to do that a few times and then I'm going to pull it off and start a new thread. So again, not too long of a thread, good arm's length. Same as before. Thread it through my needle. tie a couple knots on the end and then anchor it to the back of the ornament and keep beading. So when I'm done with the clan, when I'm done beading the clan, I'm going to start filling it in with the red beads. Okay, so this is where I've come up, and I am going to come up close to that A and start all over. When you're filling in your beadwork as well, so if you are doing a design or if you're following some words or lettering, you don't have to squeeze in beads in every spot. Just follow the design as best as you can, because you're going to fill this in later, so you don't want them to be too crowded. You don't want to pull on your tension too tight either. And if there's a gap, it kind of looks like there's going to be a gap here, but we'll see what happens when I anchor it. I'm going to go through. Well, it looks all right. So I'm going to keep beading the clan, the lettering, and then once this is all filled in, I am going to start to fill in the red beads to make my ornament complete. Okay, so I finished the lettering, the clan, and now I'm going to start with the filling of the bead, the red beads. So now, if you're a little more comfortable, you can definitely add 3 beads. I wouldn't go any more than that. Same idea, just hold it down, follow the outline, don't force the beads, come up between the second and last bead, and go through the last bead. And we're just going to do that all the way around until you get finished. So don't jam your beads too tight. Think happy thoughts. I think I'm going to stick to 2 beads. Forget the 3 beads. But if you can get comfortable with it, you can. Just no more than that. 2 just holds it nice and steady, nice and flat. Couple more, and then I'll go back to the time lapse and fill in the beads. So just add them naturally, don't add too much tension. Always setting yourself up for the next bead. So yeah, coming through the end there. Here we go. Okay, so here's the finished project. I went a little more around the edges. Unfortunately, there wasn't any time to show you how to do edging, but this is something you can definitely look up. If it's something you really want to do, you can look it up online. But you definitely can add a backing when you are done your ornament. I just use this dollar store felt, the thin stuff. This isn't the stuff to bead with. The felt that you would have been beading on would have been a stiffer felt, like, yeah. But for backing, soft felt is fine. So this is my beaded ornament, my clan beaded ornament. I just wanted to say thank you again for sharing the virtual circle with me and allowing me to teach you the teachings that were passed on to me. And yeah, just happy beading and don't give up. And yeah, I really wish you the very best on your beading journey. Snechalya.